Steven, I think they're ready for us. You ready?
Yep.
So what's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of We Got Next. I am one of your hosts of the show, Hayes, aka AO Shifty, with my boy that is in the closet right now, the toy closet. So if you filled out the survey, you knew that was one of the options. But we have Steven at Steven_Springs on Twitter. Make sure to follow him. Make sure to follow the We Got Next channel as well, because a lot of things will be coming up. But we'll just segue it to you because it looks like you got a lot of Nike on, some Penn State stuff on. So what's good with the quick slants?
Yep. Last week I put out the first preview for the season offensively, and then tomorrow I'm going to put out the defensive preview, working on that. And tomorrow also going to have just a 30-40 minute quick slants episode going over some things, mainly Penn State football. We still have a ways to go until camp starts. I mean, not a ways to go. I think there's only 43 days until the season starts. 6 weeks from today, actually 6 weeks from like right now, Penn State will hopefully be up like 28-0 on Purdue. But tomorrow we're going to start the first episode of the quick slants for the season and start to progress on that. So keep an eye out for both those things. An article coming out tomorrow. If you haven't checked out the offensive preview, go check it out on my Twitter feed. And then tomorrow is going to be a defensive preview, and then the first episode of the 2022 season for the quick slants.
Yes, sir. So make sure to end up tuning into that. Steven, as always, takes care of the college football aspect of it. That's a huge thing. So I always appreciate him handling that. Just want to remind everyone, Mondays, we will have the Twitter Spaces with different Solana NFTs. So we did 18 so far, thankfully. And I just want to let everyone know, because I told people to make sure to listen to this episode, but I'm going to start another one on Wednesdays. So it'll be a Twitter Spaces basically right before we record this, but I want to go into like the near blockchain. I've been talking to some people right now. This won't start until August for everyone out there, because I want to still give time for us to get to like episode 19 and 20 and focus on Solana. But it's just another way to end up bridging things. But then as we continue to grow those two, and Steven's growing the sports aspect, it'll just help us all around do it. I know that it's much tougher for us. You probably see other people on YouTube and do things like every single day during the week or write things. We don't have all the time in the world to do that. So Steven and I try and do it in other ways.
Unless we get a sponsor and
I know
they want to sponsor, the boys, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah. Then you'll see us break out stuff left and right. Until then, it's going to be this way for a little bit. So I just wanted to end up letting everyone know about that, just what's going to happen now. So it'll be Monday and Wednesdays come August. Make sure to tune in with Stevens. And then also we're getting closer to football time, college football time. So I do have some questions for Steven once we get to the sports aspect, because there's been some talks between like the ACC, what they're going to do, what SEC, the revenue gap. So there's been a lot of big things, but when we get there, we'll segue into that. The first couple of things I do want to talk about, talking about financial aspect, is one, the euro. So for everyone out there that knows about this, you probably found out the euro is at it's like at $1.01, kind of. So they're almost damn near even. $1 equals 0.99, or €1 equals like 1.01 US dollars. And one of the people in one of my communities in the D Guides, they put it on Twitter and it blew up when he said it. He said, we're calling it soccer now, because they're basically the same thing. So that's something that is of importance for everyone out there that thinks, oh, everything's fine in the economy. Name the last time in your life that the euro was at the same exact point as the US dollar. The euro has always been above. It was the British pound and the euro, then you had the US dollar. Everyone used the US dollar, but you always look to like the euro as being the stronger currency, since there's not that many. Another one out there is Singapore's currency, but there's a few that are out there that are stronger. So that was something of importance. The other thing I want to bring up is in June, they said that the home sales actually fell by 5.4%. This is something that if you paid attention last week, you did notice that I gave hints and mentions that it was starting to come down some. As Steve and I have always said, real estate agents aren't going to tell you don't buy a house. That's at any job. They're never going to tell you, oh, don't buy this. They're just going to lose money that way. They want you to end up buying it no matter what the market is. Why? They make more money as long as the market is up. When the market is down, they make less money. It's just simple math in that essence. So just wanted to let everyone know about that in terms of June home sales fell. Pay attention because it might end up doing that again next month too. Another thing I wanted to bring up for everyone that pays attention to earnings, this is my favorite time of the year. So one of my friends, John, knows I always get into stocks during what time of the year? Earnings season. So I do this 4 times a year. And the first one of note was Netflix. So Netflix announced that come 2023 that they're going to start adding ads. So they're going to have a cheaper option for people, but there'll be ads potentially in 2023. So it was a give or take thing. And you can kind of tell they're going to a similar model as like Hulu, but also it's just TV all over again. What are your thoughts?
I just want to be able to watch a YouTube video and close it and it not end the video.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's all we've ever wanted. And an edit button on Twitter.
Yep. And
like those are the two things we've ever wanted in life.
Mm-hmm.
Like
for
everything
free.
Else is like, yeah, for free. Everything else is like, I get it. You got to pay money for services and gas prices are astronomically high. We want low gas prices, affordable housing, affordable cars, education. You know, we want all that kind of good stuff, right? But that takes a while, maybe for my kid's lifetime. Mm-hmm. But I just want an edit button on Twitter and, well, no ads on YouTube, but that's never going to happen. Same thing looks like with Netflix. And I just want to be able to close YouTube. Like when I'm listening to, if I find a song on YouTube, I'm listening to it at the gym or whatever, or just in general, I want to be able to close it and not stop playing.
Yeah.
I feel like that's not hard to ask for, right?
In our lifetime, I don't know if that's happening.
I know. But
in another person's lifetime, that might end up happening. The other thing that does end up benefiting us, so as you all know, this is big on sports. And if you heard anything about ESPN, they've continued to increase. And I have it over here as well, because there's a lot of things with sports I've been paying attention to, but ESPN is increasing the cost of their ESPN Plus, their monthly cost. Yeah, obviously. So in 2018, it was $4.99. 2020, it was $5.99. 2021, it was $6.99. 2022, it is now going to be $9.99. So shout out to Joe Pompliano for this, because he always ends up giving information like that. But that's where I got it from. And the service now will go from an annual price of $69.99 to now $99.99. So it's a 43% increase. The crazy part why I brought this up is Steve and I both talked about Hulu. So if you have the Hulu bundle of Disney, Hulu, and ESPN Plus, it doesn't affect you at all. It stays the exact same. So if you read this, they're basically incentivizing you to get the bundle. When the bundle is $69.99 and they said they're not changing it, why are they incentivizing you to do that? Not necessarily the ESPN Plus part, not really the Hulu part. It's the Disney caveat that's competing with Netflix and competing with Amazon. You want the viewers that are there, and you want people to end up focusing on the movies that are there. We can all see it now. People aren't necessarily putting all their movies directly in the movie theaters. They're just going straight to the streaming source. So that's something I am curious about. Also, just for everyone out there, can you explain more why ESPN Plus continues to raise their costs? What's been the importance of that?
I mean, they have way more content now than ESPN Plus has been a thing for a long time. But like back in the day, it was like you had ESPN, ESPN2, ESPN News. Those are like the 3 major ESPN channels. And then ESPNU came along, which kind of changed the game for the college landscape because it was obviously just college. And then you had things like the Big Ten Network and the ACC Network come along down the road and whatnot. Shout out to the Big Ten Network for being first, conference specific network to come out. But then you have all these fights that are on like every weekend basically that are on ESPN Plus. Hockey season now that the NHL is back on ESPN. You can watch pretty much every hockey game is usually on ESPN Plus. Shout out to that though, so I can keep watching the Penguins. So there's just like, and then once college basketball starts, once college football starts, you can watch basically any game. And then you can, you pay for it and you can watch on your phone, mobile devices, everything like that. So I mean, it's like, yeah, I'll probably buy it. I'll pay for it, but it's just like, again, can we just like have these?
For
Can we just have like
free.
some nice things for free? But it's like, oh
Yeah,
well, gas prices are going down, so let's go ahead and raise that and kind of even out what people are not
that's what
spending
they're
at the
doing.
pumps. They can spend on ESPN.
Yep. Yeah.
Schmucks.
So that's been the big thing. I think when I first read that, the first thing I thought of was I'm not ever going to get rid of my Hulu bundle. Like it just more so was a reason to keep that. If Hulu increased by $5, I would still do it because ESPN Plus is still $99.99. And
Mm-hmm.
then I don't even use the Disney Plus aspect all the time. Maybe if my brothers come over, if they want to watch something, but there's so many benefits to that three trio. And then another big thing for Hulu, why I feel as though it's a steal, they have the Kardashians moved there. I don't care about it, but the Kardashians being now on Hulu is a big thing taken away from like Bravo and all those other networks and E networks. So I think that they're going to be able to have like the adult female audience that's into those different type of reality things. You then have the children audience when you have your Disney Plus, and then you'll have the male dominated with the ESPN Plus. And it is really crazy because something else I did look up, I think I wrote it down. They will have one of the NFL international games. It's the one in London that they'll end up having for ESPN Plus. So I think that is also big. You get one of the earlier games with that. So just wanted to end up adding that in there for everyone out there that ever considers like ESPN Plus, Hulu, Netflix, the other two things, just going over into the finance crypto world before we go into sports. The first one is, so Bitcoin is currently sitting at $23,000. It did pull back today because the announcement of Tesla during this quarter, they sold about $960 million worth of Bitcoin. They did a lot of this, people have speculated and said, they did this because to make their books and then their cash flow look better. So it's a net positive, whereas most things have not been making money, especially with Tesla. So if they sold their Bitcoin and then put that in their cash, it looks better for them. So that was one thing. Only problem with that is people started to sell because that is viewed as a bad thing, because it just shows that if they had to sell their Bitcoin to make their books look better, what is it really telling you about like the car market and everything like that? And then also if you saw like Elon chilling on the beach, that was an interesting sight to see too. I know.
We don't have to get into that though.
No, we don't. So the other thing I wanted to let everyone know about, people think that we're about to go to $30,000, $40,000 Bitcoin. I'm just going to let you know, because I've been around in this cycle now and I can finally speak from experience seeing this. We're not going there yet. There's too many things going on in the world that if you think we're just going to go straight back up, you've been living under a rock and you also don't understand Bitcoin. I was telling people in some of the Discord groups I'm in, this reminds me a lot like 2019. 2019, when there was a pump in the summer, and that's similar to what this is, but you also have to end up looking at other caveats that come into play, because Apple said that they're going to hold fast on not hiring as many people, which is a huge thing. When Apple is one of your big companies, everyone looks at Apple, Microsoft, whatever they do, that's an indication of a lot of things. So if Apple's selling theirs and then Microsoft doesn't want Minecraft to end up having NFTs, those are two big things that in the short term isn't promising. I can tell you Minecraft just wants to kind of do their own thing when it comes to NFTs. If Microsoft gives money to other people, that's kind of a problem. They normally take the money from other people. So I still think that Bitcoin is going to go back under 20,000. I would, not financial advice again, but I would make sure that you guys don't end up just leaving your bags in there. Don't ever marry any type of cryptocurrency or stock forever. I wouldn't even do it with Apple and stuff. You can keep it long term, but make sure you guys sell at some point. Don't end up just like, oh, yep, I'll leave it in there. And then some random scandal comes out. You never know what'll happen. Some random tweet from Elon Musk. He ends up, I remember when he would tweet when he was on acid and shit like that, people would just flip out. So I'm just saying, always pay attention to things and just monitor it. You can keep it in there long term. Apple always do fine, but just make sure you end up selling for a profit or have cash. Don't just hold a stock forever. You can't go to the supermarket and say, I'll give you this Apple stock for like something in the store. So that's what
one day.
Yeah, one day.
I'll give you my Apple stock for a pound of turkey.
Yep, I know. It'll happen someday.
One day.
Yeah. So the final thing I want to bring up is there's a couple of things that are happening. So I've been researching and looking at things. You've probably seen some tweets, but the We Got Next and like the Shift Movement Digital, I'm going to create a virtual basketball team. I made hints of it online, and like I talked to the VBA Virtual Basketball Association. It's one of those NFT game apps, whereas you can play to end up winning money. So you end up getting like 5 to 10 players. You're the general manager, and then you get to end up signing new players, trading players, and you get to play against people around the world, and you end up winning in different awards and rewards. So that's one thing that I'm working on. Currently, we have 3 or 4 players. So once we end up getting a team of like 6 to 7, we'll end up putting them in. How they end up doing it is seasons are faster. It won't be like a year as a season. It's almost a shorter time frame. Like seasons might be like a literal season. So it'll be 4 in a year, something like that. The other thing that I wanted to let everyone know about is I have been doing research on like these different virtual horse races and stuff where you end up getting to own your horse and end up like breeding it. So then you get to do different competitions. Some of the prizes have been like $20,000. It looks dope and legit. I've seen a lot of big time people. Barstool even does it as well. A lot of different venture capital firms do it. And I've seen a lot of big time names that are venture capitalists invest in this company. Some of the people that have worked there have worked for like EA Sports, Madden, so on and so forth. So they have a lot of knowledge when it comes to this. They didn't just like bring it out of thin air. But stay tuned for those. I will start to announce it more. And this is something we will start to get into more, especially because it just keeps us involved in like the cryptocurrency aspect. But then in addition, it's the sports aspect. And it just continues to help grow our brand. So stay tuned for that. I do want to segue into some of my exciting topics. For starters, Steven, did you watch any of like the Derby or the All-Star game?
None.
Okay.
I watched. That's the first time. I don't usually watch the All-Star game.
I don't really either.
But that's the first. I don't like the format of the Home Run Derby anymore. But
They
continue on with what you're going to say though, and then we'll turn into that.
So there's numerous different things for everyone out there. I guess I didn't watch it last year or I didn't pay attention, but last year, this year they have a time. So you have a time of how long. I think it was this year, like 2 or 3 minutes in the first round. Then it's shortened by a minute for the second round. And the craziest part about that is Albert Pujols got past the first round. So of course everyone's thinking, no way, like how is that possible? And then Rodriguez from the Mariners, he had over 30 home runs the first round. He ended up getting past the second round. And then in the end, it was Soto against Rodriguez. Interesting part about this as well, the Nationals, since Soto did not end up accepting the long contract, this is the big part that I'm getting to. Soto didn't accept the contract, so they didn't charter a flight out there for him. He had to get a commercial flight out there. And I have mixed emotions about that because you're butthurt and salty because someone that helped you win a World Series now is going to go, and you guys just don't want to be like, all right, thank you, let me send you out there. When he won the Home Run Derby and he did well in the game, it's an interesting format because it's almost like similar to the 3-point contest, but swinging a bat and shooting threes are 2 totally different ways. So if you look at Steph Curry's shooting, it's almost effortless half the time. When you see a bat, I swear when Rodriguez would hit, he has to like hop a little bit, then get back in place. There's a lot more that's going into it. When you're hitting a home run, like that's totally different than hitting a 3. But what are your thoughts on just like the format or anything like that?
So I think the format sucks. Mm-hmm. I think before this, it was you had 10 outs.
Yes.
And like you had as many home runs as you can before the 10 outs. And it might take a little bit longer. And I think that's probably part of the reason they want to maybe shorten things. And I get it with the time. It kind of makes things a little bit more competitive because like you said, well, also to your point about the 3-point contest, that's, obviously been timed since the beginning, and you have the racks. Now you have the 4-point shot. I think you have, so there's like, they throw in different wrinkles in there to make it more competitive and make it more fun and everything. And, the 3-point contest, like I said, it's timed, always has been. So like that kind of gets things going. You can start off in a rhythm and then you realize, oh shit, there's 20 seconds left, 30 seconds left. I got to get on my horse a little bit so I can get all these balls off the racks. And some similar thing in the home run derby, you want to get as many pitches off as you can. So got to be in a rhythm with that. But like you said, it's a little bit more difficult for the home run derby. So the guys run out of steam a little bit sooner. Now Rodriguez was just
bombing them.
Effortless. He put up 31.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw the numbers of everybody. He put up 31 in the first round, which is that's incredible.
Yes.
And they get like a minute and 30 seconds, and they get the money balls, which adds 30 seconds for each ball, and yada yada yada. I don't know. I just I get why they change these things every year or every so often. I get why they think that they need to. It's like changing the jerseys. They need to get like more, just like a fresh look, or get more people involved in it and whatever. But I think it's just like, I hate when they tweak those things so much that like you forget what it used to be like. Now they just changed the home run derby to this format within the last 5 seasons, I think. So it's not been that long since we had, the 10-out rule and whatnot. It's like the NBA dunk contest. I mean, aside from the fact that every dunk has been done, and there's like nothing else that guys can do these days. It's kind of like they changed a lot of it. You can't do this, you can't do that, and the timing factor of things like that. Now that the timing factor of the dunk contest was good because guys were taking 20 minutes to get one dunk in with no limit on missed dunks or anything. So the format for the home run derby, I don't like it, but I get why they do it, because you got to continue to change and get some different eyes on it and get it fresh things. But I think it's stupid. It all sucks, dude. It all sucks.
It was so 2 events during All-Star weekends that I was always excited for were the home run derby and then the slam dunk contest. Slam dunk contest is no longer one of my favorites. The home run derby, I like it because you get to see some of the up and coming talent. Like seeing Julio Rodriguez, it's one of those, most people are not watching the Mariners. And then now they're having the All-Star game in Seattle.
I didn't know who he was until the other night.
Exactly.
I didn't
idea either. Yeah. So seeing him, it was good because now people will probably pay attention-ish to the Mariners. And then the All-Star game is there next year, which is also promising because, of course, you always hear the speculation of, will an NBA team ever go back to Seattle? So these different type of events do help with that. You want to see fan bases show out and stuff. So if Rodriguez has a good year next year, which we all hope so, because you want to see the Mariners represented in the All-Star game, because that just sucks when you don't even have a player in your home.
I remember when the Pirates had Jason Bay, and only Pittsburgh Pirates fans remember who Jason Bay is. My man was in the home run derby, hit 0 home runs. And I don't remember if that was, I should remember this part of it, but I don't remember if that was the one that was in Pittsburgh when he was on the Buccos, but he had 0 home runs in the derby. Like, that's hard to do, bro.
That's tough.
That's that's soft toss for those guys. That's what it's like batting practice. And I think he had like 30 plus home runs that season and like 100 something RBIs. Obviously, he was an all-star and in the derby for a reason, but like had 0 dingers in the derby.
That's not something. Yeah,
how many home runs do you think you could hit in the derby? Do you think you could hit, like, if I gave you 2 home runs away? That's fair. See, I think also, like, well, that's a different topic for a different day. I could spend all night on that type of shit, but let's continue.
No, but that's a crazy thing. So just finishing up with this topic, then I'll go more into kind of like Soto and Judge. But Pete Alonso, if you notice, he was kind of frustrated with the pitcher that he had elected because it's all about speed. And when you got an older guy that's kind of throwing it slower and like having a reset and stuff, it kind of messes you up and that's the big thing about baseball in terms of their home run derby compared to a lot of other sports. You're not in control of the outcome of it all. If they throw a bad pitch, you're not scooping that off the ground and hitting a home run. It's just going to be another pop-up. Whereas you might
imagine that they just toss it to themselves and just try and hit as many as they can like that. They should just do that. Just have a bucket next to them, just like we used to do as kids.
Yeah,
that's a home run derby. That's a home run derby.
That's a home run derby. I can only imagine. I remember, I forget which stadium it was. They had the water right behind them. I don't remember. I know it was a California stadium, I feel. It might have been the Giants.
Oh,
Yeah, it was the Giants because Barry Bonds will hit them home runs and they go into the water and people jump out the little canoes and stuff like that to get it. But yeah, those are the ones. If you threw it up to yourself, I promise you some of these dudes are destroying the ball. But then you also don't have anyone to blame but yourself.
I would say give them an aluminum bat too, but that would kill dozens of people in the outfield. That would kill dozens of people, dude. Those guys hit it 109 miles an hour off the bat with a wooden bat. Imagine what those guys would do with an aluminum bat. They should just let it. They should do it like one night with like no one in the stands, just to see how far these guys can really hit it.
Yeah.
And then, just like, 5 pitches and just hit them with an aluminum bat. I think that would be pretty dope. But
yeah.
Because
I always wonder how
ideas.
So in football, you can figure out how far someone can throw. Most times they're not throwing it out of the stadium. Of course, Patrick Mahomes supposedly one time did it. But with baseball, how do you practice to figure out how far you hit? Unless you're at the stadium, you can't just be like, all right, let me go out there. Now, if you're in the country, you could just smack it and just chuck it wherever it goes. But I always wonder about that because basketball, you could see how far you can shoot it. Soccer, you can see how far you can kick it. Baseball, half of those players might not really know how far they can hit the ball. You're not going to run out the stadium just for you to end up like hitting bombs out the arena.
Yeah, they just know it's gone though.
Yeah, that's it. So the other thing I wanted to bring up, and I think it irritated me, was Juan Soto and Aaron Judge. The talk has been about their futures and stuff. And I don't know if I just don't pay attention to it when it comes to the NBA, but they ask them kind of at the most random, awkward times of, what are your thoughts? Like, congratulations on this, but what are your thoughts on, are you going to be here with the Nationals and stuff? And if I was them, I'd be like, get the fuck out of my face. Like, stop. And all they can do is just kind of like laugh it off, chuckle and say, I'm just here to enjoy the day. But I remember when Carmelo was getting traded towards the deadline, I don't feel they did it in the same way or like harassed or made it a point of emphasis.
No, I hate that too. Like, I get and I was a journalism major. So I get there's like, that's literally what you're paid to do is ask the hard hitting questions. But there's a time and a place like they say for everything for that. And it's not when they're just like hanging out with their boys or, at the All-Star game or at the Derby, whatever, like on a, so-called little mini vacation from the season. Like, come on. Like, what do you think? What do you think he is really going to say? Well, you know what? We've actually been working on contract negotiations, and I went from 350,000 or 350 million to 351 million, and we had kind of meet in the middle with it. So I'm looking at a 4-year deal right now. I really want to stay in New York, but the Astros are making a run at it too. So I don't know. It's going to come down. Like, do you really think they're going to give you an answer like that? No, never. That's never going to happen. Never going to happen unless you have their agent standing right there who can confirm everything they're saying or give you a word for word answer from the agent themselves. You're never going to get an answer that you want ever. Even if you think they're being honest, they're not being honest with you because no one knows what the fuck's going on ever.
Nope.
No one knows what's going on with these guys. They even do you think the players really know what's going on? Like the agent will come back to them and say, hey, we got you 10 years, $10 million. Nope. I want more. Okay, fine. Like, but they don't know about like what's going on, like the negotiations and everything, or like what the other side's saying to them. Like, dude, come on. Like, don't like ask them something complete. Ask them like, hey man, like, what'd you have for lunch today? I'd much rather you ask me what I have for lunch today than you ask me, hey, so are you gonna be in New York next year? Are you gonna be in Washington next year? Come on. Juan Soto denied a $450 million contract.
Yeah, for like 10, 15 years.
Come on. Like, man, there's a time and place for a lot of things, and that's just not it.
No. So that was kind of the big thing that ended up like frustrating me in terms of that. Then the other thing I wanted to end up bring up was the captain. So everyone out there watched The Last Dance. I think almost this was the Last Dance because I grew up in New York. So I was always like a Yankees fan. And I would always read like the Derek Jeter books. First off, I don't really care as much about the captain, the show itself. Derek Jeter's odd, weird when it comes to speaking. I don't know, him, Steph Curry, they all just have like that random awkwardness sometimes when it comes to speaking. But just hearing his upbringing, and then also seeing him growing up and then how they did the draft back then. I love all that. And then I'm just waiting for the end because they're going to show the most famous thing he ever did when it was him damn near out of random, just threw it to Jorge Posada and the Oakland Athletics game, and it was an out. So to this day, everyone's like, where the hell did he come from? But what are your thoughts on that? Because I know you watched The Last Dance, and this has like similar producers and stuff.
So people have very mixed emotions about Derek Jeter. I didn't watch the first episode, but people have very mixed emotions about him. And people were like, if he wasn't in New York, if he was playing for the Mets, he wouldn't be who he is today because he played for the Yankees. And if you look at the sports franchises in the world, the Yankees are one of the top 5 most popular probably in the history of sports. But it's like, just like if you played for, like, just because you play for the Yankees doesn't make you, an all-time great. You still got to go out and do it. You still got to go out and put the work in. You still got to do the things on the field, off the field, in the clubhouse to be respected and considered one of those all-time greats. And it's not like he was dog shit. It's not like he was a really shitty shortstop. Like, sure, playing in New York helps no matter what sport you play in, no matter what sport. So the playing for the Yankees helps. But like, you still gotta go out and do those things. So I'm sure I'll definitely catch it. I'm sure it'll end up on Netflix or it'll end up on, we'll be able to watch it somewhere else. So I'll probably watch it. Eventually. But yeah, I mean, speaking of documentaries, did you see the coming out on Netflix with a Manti Te'o documentary?
I saw that.
I'm not like, we need to do a whole episode dedicated to that because that was just an incredible moment in college football history. But like, back to the Jeter thing. Yeah. I mean, like, people are going to watch it because it's Derek Jeter and he's pretty reserved, pretty quiet about things. He doesn't do a lot of public stuff. He just got on Twitter like less than a month ago. He did like the Players Tribune thing and whatnot, but like, pretty reserved guy. So I think this will shed a light on maybe his private life or whatever. So yeah, I'm sure I'll eventually watch it, but every star athlete who retires, Kobe's gonna have one eventually. LeBron's gonna have LeBron's gonna have like a 20-part documentary about his journey and everything. So yeah, this is just one of those famous athletes that's got another documentary coming out.
Next thing I wanted to touch on, we're gonna segue into football and the super conferences. So of course, Steven is our aficionado when it comes to all things college football and stuff. And as everyone knows, Texas, Oklahoma are supposed to be moving soon to the SEC. Then you have some of the teams in the Pac-12 that are going to be moving to the Big. And then you have people saying the ACC is kind of the next one that they're trying to figure it out. And super conferences are what Nick Saban is something we're just going to have to deal with and live with. What are your thoughts? And can you explain all this so people can understand why they keep using super conferences and how this impacts the playoffs at all?
Yeah, it's basically all about the money. So like, USC and UCLA are going to the Big Ten. It's just going to be more money for the Big Ten, and they'll definitely bring in over $1 billion from those two schools. Now, geographically, none of it ever makes sense. But then you have Oklahoma and Texas joining the SEC, which doesn't make any sense. But you have Missouri and Texas A&M joining it. So I think eventually the first contract of the college football playoff, I think, expires in 2025. So the 4-team playoff. I think after that, you'll see over the next handful of years, and it's probably already in motion, but you'll see it become either 4 conferences like Northeast, South, and West, or 2 major conferences like the AFC, the NFC, and then just like different subdivisions or sub-conferences within those 2 major conferences. I think that'll be it, and then they'll probably expand the playoffs. I don't think it'll go to 12 because you got to think of like how like finals and like semesters and things of that for college athletes. That's just like logistically that's extremely hard to do. But I think they'll make it 8 teams, and they'll probably just they'll go from there. Now you gotta think there's a whole other layer of like, what about like UCLA, USC? Not every team that is on the West Coast or in the Big Ten now is going to be able to like realistically travel from State College to Like the
Hell
the
no.
Penn State women's lacrosse team. I don't even know if USC has one, but like they're not gonna be able to travel to Southern California. Like, it's gonna be tough for like the school, like the teams outside of football and basketball, really.
Yeah.
So like that's gonna be a very interesting part to see how that goes. NIL things are gonna get crazy. Recruiting is gonna be fucking nuts.
That's mhm.
So there's so many layers to it other than just saying USC and UCLA are joining the Big Ten. There's so many other, it's like a giant onion. Every time you peel something back, there's another layer. So I don't think it's going to be as easy as people think. And I don't think people who understand it and know how it's going to go, we all know it's not going to be easy. Football wise, probably easier said than done because of all the money. But like those other conferences, I mean, there's other sports teams. It's gonna be tough. But yeah, I think eventually by the next round of the college football playoffs, it's going to be either 4 conferences, Northeast, South, and West type of thing, or it's going to be an East and a West, or they'll call it something, and there'll be 2 or 3 sub conferences within those 2 conferences, and that'll be what it's going to be like, probably like going forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, logistically, like Steven said, the big thing is just figuring out the other sports, your lacrosse, your soccer, women's volleyball. Those sports are going to have the most impact on a lot of this compared to football. Since those are the ones that are going to bring in the money, they're going to figure out a way. NIL plays a huge part in this because now more money is going to be given out with that. But our final one is talking about Germany in terms of the NFL. So there is going to be a game in Germany, and the NFL already had 500,000 people waiting in line to go to this game. There are only 75,000 seats in the stadium. So you can do the math really quick. This just shows you that the future of the NFL, they will start to have more international games, especially this way. So that's a big thing with that. Do you have any thoughts on international games?
I hate it. I hate it. I hate it, dude. I get it. I get it. You're trying to expand the game. I hate it. I don't know why. I don't know why, because it's football. I don't care where you're playing football. You can play on the moon and I'll still watch it. I just hate the international shit. Penn State played UCF in Ireland in 2013 for James Franklin's first game. Bro, I had to get up at 8 o'clock. Now, granted, I started drinking at 8 o'clock in the morning, but like, I don't want to do that. But I don't know why I don't like it so much. But like, I get you trying to grow the game. Like, are they going to put a team there permanently? Because no, I'm not going to go for that.
They can't
actually. You know what? Take the Jags and put them over there, please. Just take the Jags. Take Trevor Lawrence. Send Urban Meyer's ass back over there too. If he's somewhere, take him back over there. I don't care. Send the Jags over there.
So what's really crazy about you bringing that up about the international games? I think I was listening to Pat McAfee, and they were talking about they're trying to make certain markets support certain teams. So like Australia, there's like 3 or 4 teams that NFL teams are targeting Australia to make them like the home teams. So apparently, of course, you're going to have a game probably there down the road. China, there's a couple of teams that focus on the China market so that they can end up supporting NFL teams. Same thing with like certain European base. But in London, it's kind of just like everybody, like support who you want to. They have every kind of jersey.
When you see those games on TV, you have no idea who's playing. Like if you just scan the crowd, you have no idea who's playing, and you have no clue because they're just there for a game.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that makes the most sense though, because again, it's all about the money. It's all about that's like they could give 2 shits less about who's playing in the game because there's never like sure, I'm sure people will travel from the U.S. to go to those games, make a whole thing out of it. I get it, but for the most part, I would say 90% of the people that are at that stadium don't give a shit who's playing.
No, so that's all the players don't like it. I've heard some players like going over there because it's a one-time thing they've never been across the pond. Others hate it because you have to adjust to the time. The field's not your normal field because most times they're rolling out. I've heard some players complain about how the field is, and then just the measurements and everything. Most of these times they're playing in a tennis specific stadium or like a soccer stadium, football for them, but it's not a specific NFL stadium. A lot of the stadiums here, outside of when it was the Oakland Raiders stadium, a lot of them were focused strictly on being football, and then other things could be had in that arena or that stadium. So that was one thing I wanted to bring up with that. The final touching point, and this should be super quick. So I've been doing 2 sites I've started to like go into. I think one is Sportico, then the other one is like U Sports or something like that. They give a lot of the financial aspect in terms of sports. And I was looking up season tickets because I always like to see how much revenue different people bring in. U Stadium, sorry. And what they end up saying is, the number one, can you guess who the number one in 2021 season ticket revenue was?
For the NFL?
The NFL. I'll give you a hint.
I'm gonna guess either. No, I got it. Either the Rams or the Raiders.
You're good. Raiders are number one.
Yeah, Vegas.
Yeah, so that's a huge part. They can.
Where were the Rams on that list? You know,
out there. So it goes number 1 are the Raiders, number 2 are the 49ers. Keep in mind California. Number 3, the Patriots, obviously. Right. Number 4, the Rams, and number 5, the Giants. All kind of big markets. You have 3 teams in California-ish because the Raiders were just in California before, but also Nevada, you can legit, we didn't do it when I always go there, but you can drive from Los Angeles to Nevada.
You know, I was going to ask that how far LA was. Oakland's Oakland's
north, so that's
right.
Tougher.
It's how far is Oakland from Vegas? Is that a hike?
I really want to know. That's
okay.
Yeah,
but LA is pretty relatively close, right?
Yeah, LA, it's a straight shot in the desert basically, but you can get there. So a lot of those people in LA, you can end up driving out there, then you can drive back. So it's a little bit easier to do that. But so that was the first thing. Can you guess who's last on the list?
Jaguars?
No, you're close.
Dolphins?
No. Think about some not really good teams at all.
Lions.
Correct. Lions are 32. Also, to let you know, Oakland to Las Vegas is 8 hours and 50 minutes.
Oh, yeah. But what's where are the Steelers on that list?
So I was not paying to have front office sports, but the Steelers are in between 1 through 5 and 28 and 32. So they're in the middle somewhere.
Okay.
Number 32 are the Lions. Number 31, which was kind of a surprise, the Commanders. Number 30.
Is it though?
It's not a surprise in that way, but they have so many seats. So you would think they would get more money, but people don't really want to go.
Yeah, they have so many seats, but so little fans.
Yeah, their fan base has started to falter off. If Dan Snyder wasn't there and they changed the culture, because I've heard a lot of stories that from the inside, I think a lot would change. People don't really want to go there. It's different than the Wizards. People will be like, all right, I'll go to the Wizards. I'll probably win a championship the year after that. Commanders, that's your last option. When you look at different quarterbacks who have gone there, half of them all came from Philadelphia that went there. McNabb, they all did that in some way. It was like, damn, I got no other options.
Yeah.
So 30 is the Jaguars. 29, I'm surprised last year. Not really surprised because I was going to get season tickets for them last year and then I changed my mind. But 29 is the Bengals and 28 are the Cardinals. 29 is not going to be the same this year because I already said they sold out their season tickets for the Cincinnati Bengals. So that was it when it comes to season tickets. I just thought it was interesting hearing that. My last shout out before we go into Would You Rather, I have to shout out to Deja Kelly. Yeah, she has various different sponsorships. So this is a big thing for her. She plays for the Tar Heels women's basketball team, but she signed deals with Forever 21, Beats by Dre, Dr. Teal's, Outback Steakhouse, Dunkin' Donuts, and a couple more. Yeah, so, and another company called Actively Black. So happy for her that she's getting that and getting that type of money. She's going to need to definitely perform because they will criticize the hell out of her if that doesn't go through, especially with those companies. But going over into one of my new favorite segments of the show is Would You Rather, or Would You Prefer, or Think About It. And this one is one that it's the life or death, but which one do you feel most comfortable with? So your options are escaping a fire in a house, in a burning building or a house, escaping getting out of a sinking ship, so kind of like the Titanic, figuring out how to get out of that, or trying to escape a plane as it's going down. Which of those would you prefer to be in a situation of?
Probably trying to get out of a house, because I would say the likelihood of me surviving, like, all right, so let's go down the rabbit hole. Like, if I'm jumping out of the plane, if like the plane's going down, do I have a parachute? If I have a parachute,
most planes don't have parachutes.
Well, I also
when they talk to you,
I also don't know how to use a parachute, so probably wouldn't go well. Now the boat, do I have a life raft, or at least like a vest? Like, because if I'm like in like the, it's funny because me and BJ, my brother-in-law, when we were down at the beach, we were sitting there and we're talking about how crazy the ocean is, and we're talking about how like you don't know what's out there.
Nope.
Like, much like you don't know what's up in the sky, but like you can at least see like the stars and everything, and like you know that like that's what's out there. Now, granted, you don't know what's out there really, but like you get it. In the ocean, you don't know what's going on down there, bro. Like, once you go past like once you go past like the sandbar and like you keep going, like, bro, it is like, if you ever like at the beach and you look out there when the sun goes down, dude, you look up and you can see the stars. You look out there, you can't see what the ocean is. You have no idea. You have no idea. So if I'm out there and my boat is sinking, bro, I think I've established that, like, that's one of my biggest fears, is getting lost at sea. That's why I'm not like, I got like, we have friends who like, hey, come on our boat. Hell no.
No, I'm not doing that.
Like, as long as it's during the day and I can still see some sort of shoreline or like some sort of body of land where I can potentially get to eventually, or like we're not that far off where like the Coast Guard can't find us or something like that. Like, because if you're in the middle of the ocean and you're just like out there,
they're not finding you,
bro. It is so dark and you don't know what's out there, and that shit's sinking, and I don't have a life vest, I don't have a life boat. I am going down and I'm not coming back up. Okay, those are facts. Now, burning house, I think like burning house, I mean, unless like the whole house is engulfed and you're like dead, like if my house caught on fire right now, I'm pretty fucked, because like I'm in like this bunker ass room in our basement, and there's like, now there's windows. So the thing is, like, all right, if the house is burning, I'm just gonna go jump out of the window. Like, the fall, is it gonna kill me? Depending on how high I am. Like, right now I'm in the basement, so like we're in a townhouse, so like the basement's like not underground or anything. It's a townhouse, so like jumping out of the window won't kill me because it's like a 2-foot fall. Second floor, maybe like 20 feet. Might, if I fall on my neck or something, that might kill me. Chances aren't likely. Top floor, same concept. That's gonna like break some bones probably, but I'm not gonna die. So I'll probably take the burning house over everything. Now, if I have a parachute, maybe, like, I feel like I have like 30,000 feet. I feel like I have a good amount of time to like be like, all right, I gotta put this parachute on, I gotta figure out how to use this bitch. Like, maybe, but then if I don't use it, I'm falling at record speed, and I have no way. Yes. I have no way of slowing down. I'm not gonna be flapping my wings. I have no way of slowing down, and I'm gonna hit the ground. I'm gonna die.
You're done. So mine's super easy, and it's because someone gave me inspiration. I think Steven probably sent me this video, but there was a guy that
with
was
no context, right?
No context, yeah. Just sent it. There was a guy that was hanging on the outside of the building because I guess clearly someone came in, and they just had to like Spider-Man push off the wall and fall, and they made it out of the building, and they just ran off. Gave the police and everything. Yeah. So I'm choosing a building.
I did see that video too. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So the crazy part about that is I can survive a burning building if that's happening, or a house. I might not be as lucky as him because you have to be at the right degree and angle for you not to break anything.
Not break any bones, not break your neck,
nothing. So I'm not doing a ship. Granted, even if I had a boat, I'm going to be out there for a minute. I remember hearing about the guy that said, shout out to the half inflated football that he was holding on to in the middle of the ocean for like 10 to 12 hours. And that's what kept him alive. I'm not going to be able to survive out there. Yes, I can sit out there, but also you got all these, it's not just you in the ship. It might be someone else in the ship too.
You also have no idea where the fuck you are.
You don't, which way you're going to swim.
It's not like you can just like bust out your phone and like pull up MapQuest or something.
Nope, there's no service out there.
I gotta go take a left over there. Like, bro, you're floating for fucking days, bro. Days.
Yes.
Especially if you're like on a cruise ship or something like that. Mm-hmm. There's no one within hundreds of miles of you. Nope. Hundreds of miles.
And there's only one person that knows exactly where you are. That's the captain. Everybody else, they just on the boat.
And that captain's probably dead. He's probably in the water too.
Yes. Because thing is, that's what sucks. That's maybe another question I'll bring up another day. There is no way I can be a captain of a boat or a plane because they say you got to go down with the ship. No, I'm sorry. I'm going to be getting off and they're going to just sue me. And I'm going to be like, I got to live. But then a plane, not doing that. I thought about it at times, like if there's a crash in the air or something happens, especially when, you're on a plane that the engine messes up.
Yeah, I would say you. Christian thought about this a long time ago.
I did. I was like, this engine and the way they told you is so nonchalant, but I'm choosing the building. That was the easy one for me. What you got for everybody?
So I had to go into the office today. I didn't have to, but if I do go into the office, it's on Wednesdays when we have free food, free lunch. So your boy gets fed. So, and I found out today that we started last month apparently, and your boy just wasn't paying attention to the messages, or the company-wide emails, whatever. But starting next month, 2 times a month, we are going to be getting 15-minute in-office massages. So what? Your boy is going to be feeling right come fall. So it's gonna be on Wednesdays because that's when everyone comes in the office and the food and everything for lunch. So you get you'll be able to sign up for, or we'll be able to sign up for 2 15-minute sessions. Just throughout the day, whatever you want. It's 2 Wednesdays a month. You get 2 15-minute sessions, 2 15-minute massages. And they just do like your shoulders and like your upper back and whatever. It's not like a full like spa treatment where you get a towel and everything and like hot stones and whatnot. But I haven't gotten a massage in a very long time. I don't know the last time you got one, but
a long time.
It's been a long, again, I don't count my kids walking on my back or like jumping on me as a massage, but it's been a long ass time, probably like 10 years since I got a massage. So, people go get like 60, 90-minute massages, 15 minutes, bro. I asked one of the girls that got one today. I said, how'd that feel? She said, oh, great. I said, did it feel longer than 15 minutes? She said, yeah, you can easily fall asleep in it feels like 30, 40 minutes probably. I'm like, damn. So your boy's gonna be feeling right. I got some knots up here. So I'm gonna definitely make the most of that one for sure. So shout out to the company and, hooking up the boys.
So shout out. So my 2 are, one is a shout out. The other one is interesting. So normally, as everyone knows, I'm a big like wine drinker and stuff. I got it from like my parents. I was in the store and buying wine and put the wine like on the conveyor belt. This lady behind me says, "Oh, they have wine here." Where else do I go? Where'd I get the wine from?
Wait, I brought the wine. What kind of store is this?
So it was Lidl, and it was in Virginia because you can buy wine in like grocery stores in Virginia. And she was like, "Oh, they sell wine here?" Nope, this isn't wine. This is apple cider.
No, I actually went to the liquor store, told them I'm going to come bring it to the grocery store and I'm going to buy it here. Come on, man. I brought this from home and I'm going to repurchase it.
Exactly. So then the other thing, this one annoyed me, and it's been over a month. So as everyone knows, I was in New York last month and my car got towed the day before. That was annoying because I did all the proper information. Like I had the parking pass, everything, but you can only have 2 cars on the account. You can't add more. It's online system. So I tried to delete my old car and add the new car. And then they're like, oh, you have to pay again for a new pass. Why the hell do I have to pay for a new pass just because I got a new car? So you're basically telling me don't get a new car. So I tried to do it like over the span of a month. They were saying, so just to correct me if I'm wrong, you want to delete these two vehicles and you want to add this vehicle and you want to switch your guest pass to a regular pass so you can just have two passes. I said, correct. They said, okay, we'll check into it. Then they said, sorry for the delay. And then they end up coming back saying, just to make sure, because we're about to end up processing this, you want to move the guest pass payment of $20 to your regular payment and add your car to that spot. I said, yes. Last night, they sent me an email saying, after after review and looking through this, we are not able to process this.
They give you a reason?
They said, please talk to your leasing office.
Bro, it's an apartment complex. This isn't Park Avenue, New York, you know?
No. So they just put me on the restricted list.
So who was that though? Like who are you emailing with?
The leasing office contracted out with like this parking facility company. They did something extra. They thought they were going to be like a new luxurious system that we're doing. Before we just had hang tags. You just paid like whatever amount a month and you just had a hang tag that said you paid for the car. Now they said we're going to go to an online system. You have to put your information in there. You have to register your car. You have to pay $20 to use their service. Before we didn't have to pay nothing to use the service. We just paid for the parking. So they did all that. And then they had to credit me because they towed my car because I showed evidence. Now they're saying, sorry, we can't even do that. So
Christian's car is going to get towed again.
Again, probably. And who are they going to have to charge it to? The apartment complex. Again. Gosh. Yep. So that's everything with that. As you know, Steve and I are probably going to be on the road at different points. So we're probably going to have stories of different sorts coming up. Other than that, that's it. We'll catch you next week. We out.
Peace.